We all spent months on a waiting list for this thing because it's gorgeous and it fits in your pocket. So why do we immediately rush out and spend £100 on things which make it bigger and uglier? The Fuji X100VI is a gorgeous camera, and let's be honest, it's partly why we all rushed out and bought one. It's beautiful and it's portable, so why are there so many videos on YouTube talking about buying accessories for it which turn it into an ugly brick? You can go down such a rabbit hole with these accessories for the X100 series. Trust me, I have. There's a whole industry grown up around it. But it seems a lot of these accessories exist solely to make your camera look like Frankenstein's monster. Things don't quite fit and the colours don't quite match, and do they really add anything anyway? So let's talk about these. I'll go through all the ones I've tried and the ones that I still use today. But hey, it's your camera and I'm not your dad. I'll say it, I hate lens hoods. Yeah, they're useful in certain circumstances, especially on larger, heavier cameras, but this is why I don't think they make much sense on the X100 series. First of all, a lot of them block the internal flash, or they take a chunk out of the view in your optical viewfinder. You know, one of the most fun things about using this camera. They stop you using a circular polarizing filter. I think there is a hood out there which has one built in, but then you're stuck to using that particular filter. I'd much rather use my Polar Pro, Short Stash, CPL and Mist filter combined. It's one of my favourite filters, I've got it on everything. And last of all, the camera's so small it's easy to hold in one hand. So if you do find yourself in a situation where light is streaking in from the side, just pop your hand up. And be honest, you were secretly hoping the square one will make people think your camera was a Leica. Now, I really don't understand these. They screw on underneath the camera into the tripod mount just to give you a little bit more of a grip here. Well, I'm used to big, heavy cameras and I've got long fingers, but I don't have any trouble holding on to it. Now, I've never seen one of these which look quite right. Either the colour is slightly off or the texture doesn't quite match the camera. But the big downside is not only do they add the grip on the front, they're adding bulk to the bottom of the camera. So that gorgeous pocketable camera is getting less so by the minute. And at this point, you're already past popping it into a coat pocket. You're into camera sling or backpack territory already. I'll admit it, a leather case does look good on this camera. And if you're into keeping things looking box fresh, I can see the appeal. But here's the problem. If you use the whole case, the one which wraps around, it's just going to come between you and the shot, and after a while that's going to get annoying. So you just start using the bottom part of it. Well, then you're not really protecting the camera anyway, which wasn't that the whole point of having the case? And even the half case gets in the way of changing batteries and memory cards. It'll look great on the shelf, and I think that's where it'll stay after a few outings. You can spend that 50 quid better somewhere else. And speaking of better spent, these are the accessories I think you should get. These are the ones I use. And don't worry, it's a short list. I'm not a fan of camera straps, probably because I shoot with bigger, heavier rigs like the Canon R5, and the thought of that bouncing and hitting you here as you walk around. No thanks. I like to use hand straps like the clutch from Peak Design, and then one of those mounting clips on my backpack strap. I made a video about it, I'll pop a link up there. But the Fuji is crying out to be worn around the neck, and because of its retro styling, I've gone for this rope in leather one from VKO. Dead cheap, dead simple. It's not adjustable, but if I want it to be a bit shorter, I can knot it like this. And of course, you can wrap it around your wrist and use it as a wrist strap. For some reason, Fuji didn't quite make the X100 series weather sealed. To finish the job, it needs a filter mounted to the front because of the way the lens moves when it's focusing. I'm not sure why Fuji didn't include a simple UV one with a £1,600 camera, but as I said before, my filter of choice is the Polar Pro and Short Stash collaboration, the Everyday filter. I've got one of these on all of my lenses. It's a combination of a circular polarizer and a 1/4 Pro Mist all-in-one filter. And if anybody's interested in what those two do, I'll make a video about it. Let me know down below. Now, unfortunately, you can't just screw your filter onto the front of the lens. You do need an adapter. Now, Fuji make one, but it's stupid expensive, so stay away from that. I've gone for this one from Hauge, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's a lot cheaper than the Fuji one. I'll put links to all these things down in the description, by the way. Once you've got this on the front of your lens, you just screw in any standard 49mm filter you want. Oh, and the original lens cap still fits. Most of the reviews of the X100VI I've seen mention the poor battery life, but I've not had an issue yet. But in the spirit of having and not needing, rather than needing and not having, I've bought a couple of spares. I went with these from K&F Concept. I avoided the Fuji ones because they are super expensive. And I've got a few things from K&F's, and they've always been good, so I went with them. And on top of that, they've got USB-C ports on them, so you can charge them up easily without having to have them in the camera. Now, this one was a bit of a no-brainer. The screen on the Fuji is articulated, but you can't flip it all the way around like you can on some cameras, meaning it's always exposed when it's in your pocket or anywhere else. And as this camera goes everywhere with me now, in and out of bags and coats and various things, having a protector on the screen is essential. I got these from K&F again, but there are loads of alternatives on Amazon. I just know that these went on really easily, and you get 3 in a pack in case one gets damaged. Okay, this is where I caved in. I went for something that's a little bit showy. I'm only human and these look so cool, especially in brass like this one. It's called a soft shutter button and it just screws into the button that's already on the camera. I'm not sure this adds anything and I didn't really have any trouble with the existing shutter button, but look at it. So in short, save yourself some money, don't get caught up in the hype and stay away from these gimmicky add-ons you see everywhere. I'm sure some of you will disagree with me on this and think I'm missing the point on some of these, so if I am, please let me know down in the comments. And after all, it's your camera. If you like any of these things, you get them. You do you. If this video saved you some money, I think that's got to be worth a like and a subscribe. But for now, that's it from me. I'll see you next time. Bye.